Hello, welcome to today's webinar on the importance of patents in research. We will explore how patents serve as a vital source of information for researchers. Additionally, we will demonstrate how Slate Pro can streamline the process of accessing and understanding scientific and technical literature. Research is inherently comprehensive. Researchers continuously engage with a number of scientific sources, ensuring that no relevant information is overlooked. Research can be considered akin to an ocean, vast and daunting. In the interviews with over 100 top industry researchers, we discovered that they rely extensively on everything from journals to research papers to patents, conferences, communities, webinars, etc. The mind of a researcher is trained to consume vast amounts of information from these diverse sources. In today's webinar, we will focus on one such prominent source of research, which is patents. Patents are legal rights granted to inventors for their inventions, provided that the inventions are novel, non-obvious, and useful. A study published in the Nature journal found that close to 80% of industry researchers read patents for specific scientific purposes. Furthermore, 72% of these 80% found useful scientific information in the most recent patent read in their field. The respondents of this survey spanned fields across chemistry, mechanical engineering, biotechnology, computers, electronics. This highlights the critical role played by patents in research. Now, essentially, if we break down research into two types, as we've understood from the interviews we've conducted, so there can be incremental research and frontier research. Incremental research talks about improving upon an already existing product or process, and frontier research is all about discovering new frontiers, doing groundbreaking discoveries, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge, the frontiers of human knowledge. For incremental research, patents serve as important documents because they help identify alternate ways of solving a problem, the more efficient ways of solving a problem. And they also serve as important pieces of information for keeping an eye on competitors. In terms of frontier research, patents can be very useful in hypothesis formulation, providing references to novel inventions, thereby driving innovation forward and supporting the overall goal of frontier research. A very good example of use of patents in frontier research is some of the earliest research on electric vehicles can be found in patents that dates back to the early 19th century. We've also identified through the course of our interviews that patent reading is challenging for researchers due to two main reasons. First, there are challenges in finding patents, and second is understanding the patents. Finding patents is challenging because the databases are disparate and complex and often require numerous filters to drill down to the exact technology or patent that you're searching. Understanding patents is a different ballgame altogether because patents tend to be written in a legally complicated language, often shrouding the innovation or the technology behind it. We realize that researchers are primarily interested in extracting technical information from patents without having to go through this jargon, this salad bowl of legal jargon. To demonstrate using an example, if you read this, a fastening device comprising a pair of interlockable stringer tapes, each stringer tape having a plurality of spaced interlocking elements disposing along longitudinal edge thereof, a slider member operatively associated with said stringer tapes and configured for reciprocal movement along said longitudinal edges, said slider member being operative to engage and disengage said interlocking elements to effectuate opening and closing of said fastening device, and a pull tab attached to said slider member to facilitate manual operation thereof. Well, there's a mouthful, isn't it? Can you guess what technology is being described here? It sure looks complicated from all the words being thrown around. Well, could you guess that what is being described is a zipper. Yes, that's what patents can do. Complicate a relatively simple technology and making it sound irrecognizable. Regardless, patents tend to be important scientific documents because it does talk about an invention at the end. No doubt there is resistance to reading this word salad. This is where Slate Pro comes in, to bridge this gap between finding technical literature and understanding patents. Slate Pro is an AI assistant, a research assistant that makes technical discovery easier. It helps you get to relevant technical literature, that is both research papers and patents, faster. It summarizes research papers and patents, making them easier to understand, easier to shortlist. Let's take a look at the tool. Okay, so this is Slate Pro, a tool for R&D professionals to discover solutions to research and innovation challenges. Here are a couple of suggested questions. So taking cue from the packaging one, let's say a researcher is interested in understanding the latest advancements in packaging. What are the latest advancements in sustainable packaging specifically? So Slate Pro will now look into its extensive database of patents and research papers and try to come up with the most relevant solution to this particular question. Okay, so here we have some results. Well, a number of results. The first one here describes a patent that talks about a paper-based packaging material with improved oxygen and moisture barrier properties. The packaging consists of a cellulosic substrate with an inner layer of polyvinyl alcohol for oxygen barrier and a moisture and barrier layer between that and the substrate. Then there is a tie resin between the PVOH, and the barrier improves adhesion. This provides a recyclable paper-based packaging with good oxygen and moisture barrier for products like food. Okay, so this particular packaging innovation is in the food industry. The packaging structure includes various embodiments with different layers, compositions, and techniques for creating packaging material, and the use of polyvinyl alcohol as both the sealant and an oxygen barrier layer allows for reduction in the amount of non-cellulosic fiber material in the packaging structure, provides resistance to grease permeation, and suitable for packaging oil and grease-containing materials, including food. Okay, so that is one interesting patent about sustainable packaging from Pro Ampac Holdings. The second one here talks about a retort food pouch made from biodegradable materials for sustainable food packaging. The pouch consists of multiple layers, including biodegradable heat-sealable layer and a barrier layer with aluminium or biodegradable polymer and a biodegradable printed layer. The layers are adhered together to form a sealed pouch that can be composted or biodegraded after use, reducing environmental impact compared to traditional petroleum-based packaging. And it also includes specific materials such as polyhydroxyalkanoates and a couple of others. The pouch has a shelf life of at least 18 months and meets specific criteria for oxygen and vapor transmission rates. And we have a number of other such results all talking about advancements in sustainable packaging, be it in terms of design, because we've not specified what exactly are we looking for. But they're talking about all kinds of innovations in terms of packaging, in terms of design, in terms of moisture capabilities, the materials used, etc. And what you have here is the annotation to this actual point. So if you click on it, you'll be directed to the source of this information. And this one here is from a patent. Had you read the patent otherwise, it is difficult to get to this information directly. Of course, you'd have to skim through all the legal language first and then identify what is the problem that this patent is trying to solve. Slate Pro, on the other hand, has summarized the patent for you, making it easier for you to decide which ones are relevant, which ones you are going to shortlist for further research. Going a step deeper, a layer deeper, let's say we want to understand what are the latest advancements in sustainable packaging um, of cosmetics. So we're asking specifically about the cosmetics industry now. Let's see what Slate Pro has to offer. Okay, so here we have answers to our question. The first one here talks about sustainable packaging of cosmetics in a compostable packaging made from blend of bamboo fiber, sugarcane, and wood fiber. It goes on to describe the percentages of individual components. And it does talk about using this packaging specifically for cosmetics like shampoos, medications as well, condiments, and other materials. So, yes, cosmetics is one of the use case. The paper-based compostable packaging is formed by thermally molding and the blend of fibers and can be used for various products such as granular shampoo, cosmetics. The packaging includes a main body with the lid that seals the opening and can be in different shapes. So it goes on to describe the materials, their composition, as well as the method of creating this packaging. It is by Anuradha, Andy De Silva, Shehan James, and one other. And again, a number of other results. The second one here talks about a multi-layer structure from post-consumer recycled plastic. Okay, that is substantially free of virgin plastic, with the outer layer being made of natural recycled plastic. This one is by Unilever in collaboration with Konopko. And as you can see, you have a number of other results, all talking about latest advancements in sustainable packaging for cosmetics, for the cosmetics industry. So here you notice that we went a step deeper and we got relevant results. The system understood the context that we're talking about two things now, sustainable packaging and within the cosmetics industry. Let's try something else. Let's try looking by a company name now. So let's say I want to know what is Procter and Gamble doing in sustainable packaging. So the reason I ask this is because Procter and Gamble is a major fast-moving consumer goods manufacturer and now we have results based on Procter and Gamble patents. So we can rely on the information and believe that it is credible because it is coming from Procter and Gamble's patents itself. The first thing, or the first patent here, talks about a recyclable paper-based packaging that is compostable and biodegradable if improperly disposed. The soluble layers enable recyclability, biodegradability. Then there's a barrier layer that prevents moisture ingression. It goes on to describe the materials such as polyvinyl alcohol, polyethylene oxide, methyl cellulose, and sodium alginate. And there are optional ingredients as well, like disintegrants, plasticizers, surfactants, lubricants, fillers, extenders, anti-blocking agents, detactifying agents, antifoams may also be included. Then there are nanoplatelets used in the barrier layer, which are further sourced from phyllosilicates or synthesized materials like graphene and graphene oxides. Well, it describes the invention in a lot of detail. And as you can see, every annotation is coming from Procter and Gamble patent. All of these indeed are innovations by Procter and Gamble in sustainable packaging. So this was another use case where we're searching by company, where we're searching by what we call as assignee of a patent. So now on our slate, we have 3 questions asked about the packaging industry, going first wide. about sustainable packaging in general, and then going from wide to deep, talking about sustainable packaging in cosmetics, and then about Procter and Gamble in specific, particularly about Procter and Gamble. So that's one of the use cases of Slate Pro as described earlier. It helps you get to relevant technical literature, relevant patents faster, and not just getting to them, but also summarizing them, making them easier to understand, making them easier for you to shortlist and research on further.